Have you ever watched an Olympic sport and thought, this is intense, but I wonder what it was like back in the day? Well, let me tell you about a sport so steeped in history, so rooted in combat that its intensity once spilled out of the arena and into a real-life duel. I'm talking about fencing. The sport of flashing blades, lightning-fast footwork, and razor-sharp timing. It's more than just a competition. It's a living echo of centuries of swordplay, where every touch could have meant life or death. Today, we see fencers in pristine white uniforms, connected by wires with electronic scoring systems that beep and flash with every point. It's elegant, it's athletic, it's a beautiful display of skill. But strip away the modern technology, and you'll find a history forged in steel and honor. A history where a dispute on the piste wasn't just settled by a referee's call. Sometimes it was settled at dawn. So let's journey back to the early days of the modern Olympics, a time when the lines between sport and actual combat were dangerously blurred. The year is 1924, the city is Paris, and the Summer Olympics are in full swing. The fencing competition is one of the most prestigious events, drawing aristocrats, military officers, and the finest swordsmen from around the world. The atmosphere is electric, charged with national pride and personal rivalries. In the midst of this crucible of competition were two top fencers. One was an Italian master, renowned for his fiery passion and aggressive style. The other, a Hungarian swordsman, known for his technical precision and calm demeanor. They were rivals, two of the best in the world, and their paths were destined to cross in a high-stakes bout. The match was a nail-biter. Blades clashed, bodies lunged, the crowd was on the edge of their seats. The final point was disputed. The Italian claimed the touch. The Hungarian insisted it was invalid. In today's Olympics, a video replay would settle the argument in seconds. But in 1924, it was the judge's word against the fencer's honor. The jury, after a tense deliberation, sided with the Hungarian fencer. The decision sent shockwaves through the Italian team. For the Italian fencer, it wasn't just a lost point. It was a public slight, an attack on his integrity and his nation's honor. Wounded pride is a powerful and dangerous thing, and in the world of early 20th century swordsmen, there was a code for settling such matters. The argument didn't end in the venue. Words were exchanged, tempers flared, and what started as a sporting dispute quickly escalated into a personal feud. The Italian fencer, feeling his honor had been irrevocably damaged, issued a challenge. Not for a rematch on the Olympic piste, but for a duel. A real duel with sharpened blades to be fought until first blood or worse. The Hungarian, bound by the same code of honor, accepted. Suddenly, two of the world's greatest athletes were no longer just competitors. They were enemies preparing for mortal combat. They agreed to settle the score away from the cheering crowds and watchful eyes of the Olympic officials. The location was kept secret, the arrangements made through intermediaries known as seconds. This wasn't for sport anymore. This was for honor. At dawn, in a secluded clearing on the outskirts of Paris, the two men met. The morning air was cold. The mood was somber. There were no judges, no electronic scoring, just the two fencers, their seconds, and a surgeon standing by in case of serious injury. They stripped off their jackets, leaving them in their white shirts. The weapons of choice were epées, the dueling sword, with the protective tips removed. The blades were sharp. The command was given. En garde, prats! Allah! The duel began. It was a far cry from the athletic ballet of Olympic fencing. This was cautious, deadly, and silent, except for the scrape of steel on steel. Each lunge, each parry, carried immense weight. A single mistake could lead to a life-altering injury. After several tense exchanges, the Italian lunged, and his blade found its mark, drawing blood from the Hungarian's arm. According to the agreed-upon rules of the duel, first blood meant the end. Honor had been satisfied. The surgeon stepped in to treat the wound, which thankfully was not severe. The two men, their conflict resolved in the old way, reportedly shook hands. The score was settled. But the story didn't end there. News of the duel leaked out, creating a massive scandal that rocked the Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee was horrified. Their event, meant to promote peace and friendly competition among nations, had become the catalyst for a genuine sword fight. It was a public relations nightmare and a stark reminder that the warrior spirit of fencing's past was still very much alive. The scandal forced Olympic officials and the International Fencing Federation to take immediate and decisive action. They couldn't have their athletes trying to settle disputes with sharpened steel. New, stricter rules were implemented regarding sportsmanship and conduct. The authority of judges was reinforced, and a clear line was drawn. The piste was for sport, and any conflicts had to stay on it. Safety measures, which were already evolving, were accelerated. The focus shifted permanently towards making fencing a pure sport, shedding the last vestiges of its dueling origins. So when you watch modern fencing, you're seeing the direct result of that dramatic history. The protective gear, the blunted weapons, the electronic scoring, it's all part of a century-long effort to tame the sword, to transform a martial art into a safe and respected athletic competition. The duel of 1924 was a turning point. It was the moment fencing had to choose its identity. Was it a stylized form of combat or a modern sport? It chose to be a sport, but it never fully forgot its roots. That's why fencing still feels so primal and intense. Every lunge carries the ghost of a dueling thrust. Every parry echoes a life-or-death defense. The fencer's salute before a bout, the en garde stance. These aren't just traditions. They are rituals passed down from a time when honor was defended with a blade. The sport retains the psychology of a one-on-one fight, a mental chess match where you must outwit your opponent before you can touch them with your weapon. It's fascinating to think about how sports evolve. Many of them, from javelin to wrestling, have origins in ancient combat or survival skills. But fencing is unique because its core tool, the sword, was designed for one purpose. The journey from the dueling grounds to the Olympic podium is a story of civilization itself, our ongoing effort to channel our aggressive instincts into something positive, structured, and beautiful. The next time you see two fencers facing off, remember the story of the duel in Paris. Look beyond the modern equipment and see the centuries of history in their movements. See the legacy of honor, rivalry, and the dramatic moment when sport triumphed over combat, creating the incredible Olympic event we know and love today. It's a sport that is safer, faster, and more accessible than ever, but it will always carry the echoes of its dueling past in every single match. Were you surprised to hear about this? It's a wild piece of Olympic history that's not often told. It makes you wonder, how much of that raw warrior spirit should sports hold on to? Is the ultra-safe, highly regulated nature of modern sports better, or have we lost something essential along the way? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into fencing's dramatic past. If you enjoyed this story and want to uncover more surprising histories behind the things you see every day, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.